Back on Tuesday, Mainers in several communities went to the polls to approve ballot measures on plans to build new schools. Christian Potholm is a political science professor, decades of experience working on some of the most high-profile referenda that's gone before Maine voters. He's got a new book out called How Maine Decides, and it looks at how issues are won and lost. We sat down with the Bowdoin College professor emeritus for a conversation on campus. What is it about ballot questions here and referenda in Maine that's so interesting?
Well, I think so much of public policy now in Maine is made that way. The legislature doesn't want to handle a lot of controversial issues, and so they farm it out to the people. And so Maine is one of those states where citizens initiate and then sometimes try to override the legislature. So it's been a real part of Maine for the last 50 years.
There are critics, though, who feel like it is too easy to get a question on the ballot. But it seems like for you, in the scope of New England, this is sort of what makes us special here in Maine.
I think it is what makes us special here. And I think the referendas they tend to require a lot of work on the part of people to do it. But I think it gives the ordinary citizen a chance to have direct involvement in the making that they don't necessarily have with the legislature. Now, if the legislature did their job every year, then we wouldn't have these things. The key voting group in Maine are the Franco-Americans, the 22% of the population. And they determine basically the outcome of all of these. Every election that you'll see in there that I won, we won with getting 50% of the Franco-Americans.
What is it about the perspective of Franco-Americans that play such an important role in these campaigns?
I think it's in part the psychographic character of them. They came from Quebec. They had a history of big government in France being not good. They're on a frontier. They don't like people telling them what to do. So, and the waves, everybody focuses rightly on the waves of people who came, Franco-Americans who came and worked in factories. But with them came small business people.
I'm curious about the population of Franco-Americans, about what still has them playing such a significant role as a voting bloc. You mentioned so many of these families coming from Quebec and working in the mills and the factories. Yeah. But in recent decades, we've seen countless of these factories and mills closing in Maine. Yeah. And I would imagine that these populations have dispersed to other communities and may not have that same centrality that they did at one moment.
You're exactly right. You're the first person that's focused on that. That's exactly right. They have become deracinated. The church has lost some authority. They don't speak the same languages. And they have moved out into the suburbs. They've moved from Lewiston to Turner. You're absolutely right about that. But they still think the same way. They still respond to the same cues, even though they've moved.
And you do see a lot of strange bedfellows in partnerships that sort of buck the conventional wisdom of people who are sharing an opinion. With the CMP corridor, for example, I think that you saw a lot of people seeing eye to eye that on many other issues, they're not in line.
That's a very good point. You don't have all the baggage of RDI. When you're out there on a particular issue, you can go and find the people you need to change, and you take the help from anybody. I mean, and that's why you have no permanent enemies. Somebody worked against you, and then in the next cycle, you are on the same side. Maine is a relatively cheap state to buy television in. So a lot of national groups come in here and they want to notch a win. And so then if you're for them, that's great. If you're against them, you rally and try to defeat them. But it allows for citizen participation at a very high level.
Is that a good thing for us, that Maine is sort of used as testing grounds of some of these questions?
I think so. And I think that if you look over the sweep of the last 50 years, Maine people have they've generally been happy with the decisions they made at the ballot box.